Welcome back to the Sahel Revolution. And I keep on saying, please guys, share the video, like the video, comment on the video so that at least we can create this awareness for the Sahel to be able to prevent what's going on and what they actually want to do to these wonderful 3 Sahel leaders. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to discuss what has happened following the attacks on Mali and how the AES has been delivering on the commitment it made as part of securing the Sahel. Maybe I should explain what the AES is. It's actually, it's called the Sahel Alliance, which is like, I would say, a version of, an African version of NATO in that sense, but it only consists of 3 countries because of what's going on in other African countries. Anyway, I don't even want to go. That's a story for another day. Okay, in this video, I will also examine how some Western media outlets have framed the narrative around Russia's support for Mali, often portraying it as if Mali were being abandoned or Mali were withdrawing from partnership with Russia rather than presenting the full contents. Now, first of all, I'm going to start with what has happened over the past, should I say, maybe 4 days. So what happened is that the AES, which is obviously Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, has delivered significant blows to the armed group in the region, and joint initiatives like AfroCop have played a role in that effort. Through increased coordination, intelligence sharing, and combined operations, these partnerships has helped strengthen security responses on the ground. While challenges remain, these efforts are often presented by supporters as signs of progress in pushing back against militant groups and improving stability in the Sahel. Now, they are calling them, these people have changed from being terrorists to being jihadists, and then rebels and freedom fighters, and before you know it, what happened in Syria will also happen there. This is what I mean. The current president of Syria right now, obviously, as you know, was actually part of the people who were beheading people. I think everybody knows he now they are calling him an ex-terrorist. I don't know how you become an ex-terrorist. Do you change? Or what happened? Like, was he, I don't know what that means, but this is what they are trying to do even in the Sahel as well. Now, I'm going to play a video here so that, as I usually say, I share videos from other people who obviously are very much in the research of like what's going on and so on, and then we can come back.
Let me begin in Bamako, what happened yesterday in Bamako. And I want to walk you calmly through the whole picture because the Western press is already trying to write the next chapter for Mali. And I will not let them do it without a counter voice. So let me put you on the ground. I want to put you in the picture of what is currently happening in Mali right now. The ceremony took place at the Military Engineering Battalion in central Bamako. It was broadcasted live on national television after 2 days of declared national mourning. Thousands of people attended this funeral. Let me take you to the battlefield. What happened on the battlefield on the 6th? The General Staff of the Malian Armed Forces confirmed Malian Air Force strikes on target near the city of Kidal in the past 24 hours. That is the same Kidal the FLA paraded its TikTok celebration from the Tereya. They celebrated the capture of that city. The same Kidal whose so-called liberation will not survive contact with Malian air power. Now, according to a senior source from the Libyan National Army speaking to Arab media, one of the commanders of the group that captured Kidal had previously fled from Libya. That is the caliber of the men who will not walk back out the same way they came in. Day after day, the skies over Kidal are not friendly skies, even for them. Malian Air Force is striking. African Corps is striking. Then when you go further south in Menaka, the African Corps of the Russian Armed Forces conducted joint patrols with FAMA on April 30th and reported finding no militant presence within the city's limit. Now read that carefully because earlier in the week, the Islamic State Sahel province had been amassing forces around Menaka. They were launching probing attacks. And by the 6th, these guys, they have retreated. The town is back under government control. And that is a picture on the ground that will not appear in Western media, of course. The same Western press that spent 4 days writing the obituary of the Malian state. they are now scrambling to explain why JNM and the FLA fighters, who are supposed to be marching on Bamako, are now being hunted from the sky. The Malian Armed Forces and the Russian Africa Corps have basically moved from defense to offense. I think I made this pretty clear yesterday. Now, there are a lot of footages coming out of the Sahel AES sector showing precision strikes, destroying enemy positions. A motorcycle column northeast of Kamisina have been struck. Armed vehicles have also been destroyed. The Chief of General Staff of Mali, he appeared on television and he told the people of Mali the operations will continue nationwide. And in Bamako, the streets are full. Normal life is going on. Traffic, market, people are going to work. The city these jihadists swore they have blockaded is now moving forward.
Now, I want to jump into the official statement from the government, coming from the government of His Excellency President Chiani, the president of Niger. It said this, take a look up on the screen. The Council of Ministers met on Thursday, April 30th, 2026, in the usual meeting room under the chairmanship of His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Head of State, General Abdurrahman Chiani, the President of the Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers examined the situation arising from the terrorist attacks perpetrated by the sabotaging forces against the Republic of Mali on the morning of April 25th, 2026. The Council of Ministers notes that it is clear from the communique issued by the AES that these cowardly, barbaric, and inhumane attacks have the sole purpose of creating terror among innocent civilian populations and undermining the heroic march of our people towards progress and their well-being. Indeed, since our countries have made the sovereign choice to break free from the cycle of plunder and extortion solely for the benefit of France and its local proxies, several theaters of operations have been opened to destabilize our countries and hinder our resolute fight for sovereignty. These recurring incursions are carried out using means and logistics that without a doubt are beyond the capabilities of these terrorist groups. This means that these sinister undertakings are sponsored by entities whose leader, Macron in France, is now openly navigating the murky waters of international terrorism. Now, time out. My boy Chiani has never been one to, be scared to put a name on it. Some people, they're scared to put a name on it. My boy Chiani, he never been scared to put a name on it. Let's continue. How can we fail to mention Macron's pledge to create terror in the Sahel, more specifically in the AES countries, before the end of his presidency? But let there be no mistake, for no apparent or overt maneuver can divert us from the path that we have chosen for our dignity and our development.
Now, as you can see from that video, the operation against terrorist group have involved a series of coordinated military actions aimed at weakening their presence and also disrupting their activities. They have included joint offensive targeted strikes on stronghold and effort to cut off supply routes and communication networks. In some cases, actually, security forces have also worked to regain control of key towns and rural areas that have been under militant influence. So when we look at that, we can see that these three Sahel leaders are not playing. They are not here to play or take nonsense. They have vowed to defend each other, and that's exactly what they did. And the operation is actually ongoing, but we can see that they are succeeding already, and I'm so happy about that. Now let's talk about how the Western media is actually, oh my goodness, these people never seem to amaze me. Eh? I think the only good thing that I'm proud of right now is that Africans are awakened. Because although some Western media outlets were quick to report on the terrorist attack in Mali, can you believe that there has been less or zero to coverage on what followed, particularly the action taken by the AES and joint security efforts like AfriCorp in response? Nothing. You can see nothing in the mainstream media. They were so quick to report on what the terrorists has accomplished. Obviously, they call it jihadists now. But now that oh my goodness. You know what? I just feel so disgusted. I feel like these people are insulting, our intelligence, because how do you report on what the militants has done, but when Mali and, Burkina Faso and Niger take actions to actually, that is contributing to the, to the safety of the countries, you are not even reporting on that. I mean, come on, rather be a good liar, in that sense of okay, you know what? At least, come on. Because otherwise you will be insulting our intelligence. Because so now we are going to think that you are reporting bad on the AES, but you're not reporting anything good that they are doing, right? That's what you're doing right now. Yeah, guys. So I don't even know how to frame this anymore. But in all, the coverage, has been just really, really one-sided. And remember, this whole attacks against, the Malians people is the cause of Sergio Camaras, the obviously Mali Minister of Defense, and also like the Defense of Intelligence, who is Modibo Kone, That is actually the cause of, that attacks are the cause of those two people who has fallen now. They have become, our ancestors. So for them to not report, but what are we expecting anyway? What are we expecting? Are we expecting them to report on the good thing that these Sahel countries are doing, especially since we know that they are behind the whole attacks? Maybe we shouldn't even expect them to report on that. But I am so happy, and that's why I'm sharing these videos. Please subscribe on these channels that I'm sharing, because these people are doing a good job in really, really awakening the masses to this nonsense that they have been doing in Africa. That's why I'm saying that the Sahel is actually the ones that are going to really, really, really bring Africa dignity back, honestly speaking.